All right, so this video will focus on Chapter 5, Section 2. And to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take all these fractions and put them into lowest terms, but do not turn them into mixed numbers. So for instance, if I had 24/48, that would become 1/2, right? I could divide both numbers by the greatest common factor, which in this case is 24. And 24 divided by 24 is 1, and 48 divided by 24 is 2. So I want you to do the same thing for all these various numbers here and see what you can figure out would be the lowest or simplest form, I should say. So pause it and try it. All right, so this one here, I have 4/3. With this one here, I have 30/24, so I can divide both by, let's see here, 6, right? So I have 5/4. This one I'm going to divide both by 3, so I'm going to have 3/7. This one I'm going to divide both by 9, and I'll have 6/7. Oops, I'm sorry, 5/7. Oops. This one here is 10/41. I can't do anything else. I just leave it as 10/41. This one here would be 12. I could take 12 out of both, and I'd have 12 divided by 12, which is 1. And then 144 divided by 12 is 12. And this one here I could take out a 5, and I'd have 10/7. So basically what we're doing today is figure out if something is fair. And if I look here, I have this right here. On the first day I get charged $5 for 2 boxes. And on the second day I pay $7.50 for 3 boxes. So I guess what I have to do to figure out if it's fair is to figure out the unit rate. So if I take 5 divided by 2, I get $2.50 for every 1 box, right? And then I can go through and do $7.50 divided by 3. And I get, oops, so $7.50 divided by 3. And I'll get $2.50 as well. So in both situations, I get $2.50 per box. So this seems pretty fair. This one here is 3.5 hours for 175 miles. So I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to take 3.5 divided by 175. And this gives me 0.02 hours per 1 mile. Let's write this down really fast. So I'm going to do 0.02 miles for every hours. 0.02 hours for every 1 mile. I'm just writing down the same thing I have over here, just so I know what this means. Now I'm going to take my 5 divided by 200. And that is going to be equal to 0.025 hours for every 1 mile. These are not the same. I know they look close, but there's this 5 here that it doesn't exist in the first one. So this one is not fair. Next one is this right here. So I have 4 miles and 300 calories. So again, I'll do miles per calorie. So I'll put down miles over calorie. Check out my calculator here. And I'm just going to divide this out. So I'm going to say 4 divided by 300. And I'll get this 0.013. So I'll put down 0.013 repeated. And that, of course, is my miles for every 1 calorie. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I'll do 1 divided by 3. And I'll say plus 3. So I have 3.333. And I'm going to divide that by 250. And this is the exact same thing I had before. So this is absolutely fair. For the next one, I'm going to go through and I'm going to have 150 feet over 2.5 hours. So you notice I'm just setting it up and I'm just kind of dividing these things to see if I get the same numbers. And if I do, it's fair because the unit rate is the same. So I'll say 150 feet squared over 2.5, right, hours. And when I divide this, let's just do 150 divided by 2.5. And I get 60. So I get 60 feet for every 1 hour. That's my unit rate. And I'll do the same thing here. And I'll take 200 divided by 4. And this time I'll get 50 feet per hour. So the numbers are different, and therefore they are not fair. Because if it was fair, it would be the same unit rate. So now it says for 1 year, I go 15.7 is 105. So the scale factor here is times 15, right? Let's just see if that works. So if I go through and I take my 7 times 15, I do get 105. And again, I just figured out the scale factor between these because I had my 1 year equals 15 points, right? So basically I could take my 105 and divide these. I could take 105 divided by 15 to get 7 years. That's going to play into this right here. If I have 98 points, right? And I don't know what it is for years. I have no idea. But I do know that 15 points is 1 year. I could then go through and figure out what the scale factor is. So let's actually divide this real fast. Let's take 98. So I'm going to go through here and do 98 divided by 15. And I'm going to get this 6.533. And that's what it'll take me, 6.533 years to get 98 points. So then I have to go through these and see if they're fair or not. So you're just going to be dividing, and I'll do my 184 divided by 2. I get 92. I'm going to write that number down so I don't forget it, 92. And that's dollars for every one ticket, right? And we'll do the same thing for 266 divided by 3. And that's 88. So this is not fair. So then go through and figure out these other two as well. But I'm just figuring out the unit rate. So this is what we're doing. We're figuring out a proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equivalent. Two qualities that form proportions are proportional. So for instance, 2/3 equals 4/6, right? So 2 is to 3 as to 4 is to 6. And if I look here, it asks if they are proportional. So I look at the scale factor between the two, and I have 4 times 3 is 12, right? And if I take 6 times 3, I should get 18, so this is not proportional. For this one here, it says tell if x and y are proportional. So again, for every 1, it seems to be going up by 6, and then for every half, it's going up by 3. So it's like it's 3, and then I go up another half here. Yep, so it goes up by 3, and this goes up by 3. So this is proportional. All right, so let's look here to see if they're proportional. I guess we'll look real fast. They are. If I just take 2 times 5, I get 10, and 1 times 5, I get 5. 6 times 4 is 24. 4 times 4 is 16, not 18, so this is no. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 should be 20, so this is not. This one here, if I take 20 divided by 12, I get this 1.667. And if I multiply that number by 15, so times 15, I should get this 25 again, if it's proportional. And I do, so it's proportional. If I look here, this is going up by 12, then 24, then 48, then 72. Let's just look here. So it looks as though they're going up by 12 every time, right? Oh, I'm sorry, 1 is going up by 12. So then this would be going by 24. And then 24 more would be 72. So this is absolutely right too. So there's something called cross products. I don't really like this as much because of the fact it's kind of a trick. It doesn't really show you what you're doing. But let me show you how it works. So if I have, let's just say 5/7, and let's say 35/49. And if I want to figure out if these are equivalent or not, right? You could do something called the means and extreme, which means I take this one down here and I multiply it by this here. So I'm going to take 7 times 35, and I will get, let's just do this, so 7 times 35, and I get 245. So I'm going to write that down, 245. And if they're equivalent to the other one, I'm going to circle this. If I take 5 times 49, I also get 245. If these numbers are the same, it is absolutely proportional, and that's a really good way to figure it out quickly. So let's look here. It says that you swim your first 4 laps in 2.4 minutes. You complete 16 laps in 12 minutes. Is the number of laps proportional to your time? So let's go through here and figure it out. So let's do what we just said a second ago. If I have, we'll say 4L over 2.4 minutes equals 16 laps and 12 minutes, right? So let's just cross multiply and see what we get. So if I multiply these two here, 4 times 12 equals 48. And then 2.4 times 16, write that down, 2.4 times 16 I get 38.4. It's not the same, so they are not proportional. And notice I had the 48 and the 38.4. That's what it's showing right here. And that is really the lesson.